The Florida Podcast Network, the voice of Florida.
On TECHxploration, your trusted tour guides, Craig and David, will explore every corner of Florida for the latest tech and innovations emerging within our communities as an inside look ahead at Florida's future.
Hey, welcome to episode number 11 of TECHxploration on the Florida Podcast Network. Join us as we discuss the tech and innovation spaces thriving in the Sunshine State. I'm Craig.
And I'm David. We own Clarity Creative, an Orlando-based digital marketing agency. Let's go.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about the newest search engine you haven't heard of yet.
Then Amy Kirkland of Seminole State College tells us about a free women's entrepreneurship program called Elle Collective.
And we'll end the episode with this week's valuable email tech tip from Nicole Herring. David, crazy things are happening. New search engines are popping up, funded $60 million, $100 million fundings from companies that are normally used as a tool online. Ahrefs, a company we use as a marketing agency to help us kind of find keywords and optimize pages, has a search engine called Yep. What the heck is Yep?
Yep is a new search engine, I guess, that just showed up. They say it's in beta, early testing stages, but they threw it out there. Announced that it got a significant amount of funding, $60 million of funding, to begin its experience in the real world. They decided to just throw it out there and let people start testing it, typing things into it. So now you can Google something on Yep.
Right. So isn't that the problem with new search engines, right? So if we go back in time, just a few years, but really it's more like 25, search engines, there was a few of them, and it was pre-Google. You had, go ahead.
Yeah,
I know you're there.
I mean, there's Alta Vista, there's...
name the dead ones, more dead ones.
There's a lot of them. Yahoo was out there, and they're still there, but...
Well, hold on. Yahoo was technically number one for several years.
Yeah, well, AOL search, of course, but let's go further back. Before there were search engines, there was literally like yellow pages that you bought in the store, and it told you the websites to go to. That didn't work well, right? And especially with how fast the web grew. So then we had search engines. Then Google figured out how to do things very well. And let's just quickly go into what Yep does. Yep's good, okay? Yep is great. It's doing what it needs to do. It puts out there what it needs, right? It's getting 80% probably of those searches correctly. It's that last 20%, right?
But what is it doing different from Google? What is Yep doing differently?
They right now don't have that yet. That's the early beta part of it. But I think what they have is they already have that data. They're crawling the websites. They have keywords. They have a lot of things because of the parent company. That's their objective, right? It's this crawling of websites and connecting of websites. It is very similar to what Google does, but they're kind of like taking it in a different approach. And
well, from my understanding, they're trying to really almost reward the content side of things even more than Google has been over the years. We've always said content is king. That's been a thing you've heard in SEO for a decade plus. But what Yep is trying to do, and we have to say trying because this is literally a new endeavor that is in beta, that's being funded, is they're trying to create a deeper connection to the actual content that was created and make sure that the results we get, then when we're typing anything, have less to do with who paid what, less to do with who knew a trick or two in terms of like white hat tactics, black hat tactics, all these things, and get the actual user the dang website they want to see.
And that's where, again, serving the correct content, but also too serving the pages that people are going to, right? They're going to do an ad sharing, right? Where it's like 90% of the revenue is going to be shared
with the content creator.
With the content creators, which is a big change.
Huge
obviously.
Change. Google shares 0%.
I'm pretty sure it's 0.
So right now, Google gives none of their ad revenue money to anyone other than Google. I don't hate on them for that. They're a great business. They've done what they've done. If Yep is to succeed, they are going to then, after that success, give 90% at the moment, is what they're saying, of the ad revenue back to those sites and those people that created the content. This could be a very interesting shift in what is being commonly called as a upcoming creator economy.
Right. It supports the creator. And we all know everything's behind paywalls. Everything's has become that over the last few years. So can that now maybe change to create, again, a more open system? I think that's what Yep is trying to do and shake it up a little bit. They're so early on.
It's too early to tell.
Using it today feels like we're not there, but we go back 10, 15 years, Google was not the king, right?
No,
or people.
For many that are looking into, how could it be that they could take down Google? That's not what we're even suggesting here. There's an and game to this, not an or. Right now, Google is the lexicon of how to search. But as a teaser for listening to future episodes that feature headlines, Apple also coming in to the search space. Very interesting stuff happening in technology all through the world. We are so excited today to connect with Amy Kirkland, the director of the Center for Business Development at Seminole State College, who started a women's entrepreneurship program called Elle Collective, which is what we are going to dive deeper into. But first, for any listeners that aren't aware of you or the Center for Business Development, Amy, how are you doing? And can you give us a little context into your 20 plus years about helping businesses?
Yes. We have the Center for Business Development at Seminole State. Helps businesses in our community from pre-venture, startup to existing businesses, multi-million-dollar businesses. Anyone that has a need, we can support through our business incubation program, small business development center, advisory boards, and now this newest initiative, our Elle Collective, our women's entrepreneur program.
Which is pretty dang exciting. So I think David and I want to dive deepest into that. So give us where it came from and why you wanted to see it come to fruition, which just launched earlier this year. So tell us a little bit of what kind of got that thought going for you. Again, you have decades of experience in business building, helping businesses. What kind of resonated with you to create Elle Collective?
I think it started when I started my first business. I had a decorative painting business, and it was in the construction industry, which is obviously male dominated. And there were so many things I didn't know about, like workers' comp exemptions and just different things that I didn't know. And I really had nowhere to turn. And it was very frustrating. I learned by making those mistakes. So I've always had that in the back of my mind. And then as women would come in and want to start a business or were already in business, they would have certain struggles. And I thought, you know what, we need to really have a place where they can feel safe, ask the questions they need to ask, and maybe reach out to somebody in the same industry to get some help and to just get some information without being intimidated and just feel like they have some kind of support with their new business.
Let's talk about some of those hurdles for a second, because I think it gets, in the broader scheme of culture, if you will, it gets glazed over. And there are real obstacles to women starting things, minorities starting things. What is it that kind of creates that out of the structure of, is it people not knowing how to start the business right from the get, where you can go to even set those things up? What kind of construct do you see? Because again, you've got that history of biz dev that makes it harder for some of those kind of marginalized groups to break through.
I think a lot of times it's within the confidence to know that they can do things and the willingness to ask for help. I think there's a lot of studies that have been done with women business ownership, and a lot of it they compare to male ownership. Men will ask for more funding when they're applying for loans. Women will ask for less money. More male-owned businesses will actually apply for those loans where women don't. They just don't ask for the help or don't dive in. And the number one thing that women say they need is mentorship, believe it or not. And I think just seeing another woman in that role opens up their eyes. And there have been some other studies done where confidence is key. So just having someone else help you and build your confidence level can be the key to your success as well as a women business owner.
Yeah. And for you being able to educate people on that, right? Because like us as a marketing company, our job is to educate, right? So what are some of those tools and everything that you guys are using then to help educate, to help kind of get them from that, even knowing that that's an option type of thing?
Right. So we do one-on-one consulting through our different programs. We put on workshops, training sessions. We also have access to a lot of resources that we share with the business community, whether it's demographics, we do feasibility studies, anything that can help them see what is available and what they might apply for, or just move in that direction. As far as loans, we do encourage, if they need the loan and they have the numbers to back it, we do encourage them by helping them to put their loan packages together to move forward. So any obstacle that there is, we do our best to help. Of course, you can't help everybody. Sometimes they're not in the right place, growth wise for that. But there are so many different resources available that people just don't know about. And the majority of what we do is done at no cost to the clients.
How do they get involved? So there's no fee, there's no application. What are the steps to getting involved?
Basically, if they reach out to us and let us know that they have some issues, again, through not just Elle Collective, that's more of a program for women to come together. Once they're part of Elle Collective, we can steer them in another direction as well and take advantage of other services that we offer. So it's really kind of a house of cards. Everything is intertwined. If you need help with, say, loans, we have specialists who can help with that loan package that I mentioned. If you need help with marketing, not only do we help with the steps, to put together a marketing plan, but we also have resources in the community that we can refer to. We just work really well with business owners, with the other resources available in our community, whether it's SCORE, Prospera for the Hispanic community. There's so many resources available, not just in Seminole County, but nationwide. The SBDCs, they're all funded by the SBA. So they're your tax dollars hard at work to help business owners to be successful. And that's how we do it, is through that funding. That's why we don't charge anything for our services.
Amy, I want you to say it again because I want it to be clear. How much does Elle Collective cost to join?
Elle Collective does not cost anything to join. We wanted to make sure that we used the funding that we have to make it available to all women business owners. There's no fee for our services. We just wanted it to be a total open access opportunity for the business community for women.
So networking, right, for women with that knowledge that you're seeding startups, young entrepreneurs with other people, right? All for free. I think that's so awesome.
Well, let's dive into that networking aspect a little bit, because there was a launch event, right? So could you tell us a little bit about kind of the official launch that happened in the second week of May?
Yes, so exciting. We've been trying to launch this program. We were supposed to launch in 2020 during COVID, so that obviously didn't happen. Then we were supposed to launch at the end of December last year, and that Delta variant came through. So again, we didn't do it. So we were so ready to get this going because we knew it's something meaningful and something that women can take advantage of, but we wanted to do it in person. I just didn't want to do a virtual event. I didn't feel like it would be as impactful. So we finally got a date. Our president of the college came and spoke to the group. I have an advisory board of 25 amazing women business owners in this community.
That's
and
great.
5 of them just did a brief talk about one of the core issues, or the core topics, I guess I should say, that we're focusing on with Elle Collective. And they spoke about those. And then I just kind of briefly went over the program, what we're looking to do. We took a survey of the attendees with a QR code and got some great feedback from them. And based on all that feedback, we're planning the rest of the events for this year. So the event was amazing. It was called Kick Off Your Heels. And we actually gave each attendee a tote bag with the Elle Collective logo. And then in there was a pair of slippers. So we asked everyone to take off your shoes, put your slippers on. And we wanted to convey that this is a really comfortable place that they can come and join other women, like-minded women who are business owners, that they could just be themselves. And we just had a blast. It was so much fun. And we got so much interest following that.
I bet. Are you able to tease any of the upcoming things that are even in the idea stage? It's okay if not, but I'd love to know, because this is very exciting what you're building here.
Yes, absolutely. Based on the feedback that we got, we wanted to make sure that we were going to be holding events on the right days at the right times, the style, the format of those meetings. We wanted to get the feedback from the people who would be attending. And we figured it would probably be like Wednesday, Thursday events, and morning or evening lunch was a little more difficult. So that was fine. But the topics Some of the things I thought would be really important, didn't come out on top. The one thing that came out first was they are most interested in learning how to become a certified women-owned business.
Oh.
And so that's going to be our first event. I'm working right now to gather subject matter experts in the certification, just to make sure that we have the right people in the room who can really explain the importance of being certified and when it is best used. Certain industries, they set aside contracts, especially government and some other major corporations will set aside work specifically for women and minorities.
Yes.
So if you have that certification, then you're qualified to, apply to bid on those jobs.
And some of these are the biggest corporations on earth that do this, right? They earmark work, which is that I'm glad you brought that up, because that's something that I think I'd love to see even more of. Do you feel the same way? Like it's great that there's something, but it doesn't seem like it's enough. There was just a opportunity for Elle Collective to come into this Central Florida space and be a rocket ship for women-owned and women-led businesses. What do you see happening over the next 5 to 10 years in terms of women entrepreneurs?
Oh, I think it's only going to grow. I think that COVID changed the landscape of entrepreneurship, and so many more people who were working for a company maybe started a side hustle, and now it's become their main source of income. We have had incredible interest in our incubator. We've had a lot more people registering for consulting with us. And I did some research just in our little county of Seminole County. In 12 months last year, we had 11,000 new businesses start.
Wow,
some of those are just
a lot.
Amy,
some
that
of those
gets
are
us hyped.
solopreneur. I'm sorry.
No. I'm sorry. That just gets us hyped up, because obviously, and I'm not even saying it from a self-serving perspective. We're a small agency, a marketing company. I know you know that from our connections and years of communication. But to us, we're like business enthusiasts. That's kind of what even got this podcast going, where we're so interested in technology. We're so interested in the businesses coming into the space. I didn't know that number. So that's just, to me, I've been using this word. It's kind of from my investing hobby, but we're so bullish on, we're so like excited and bullish on what's happening in small business. And you're at the origin of that for so many of these businesses, and specifically women-owned businesses. So is that something that was a passion for you like years ago? Did it get stoked more recently? Because obviously you're literally the helping hand, and then you're like rocket fuel behind to keep things rolling. So how did that happen for you?
I think I've been a serial entrepreneur. I grew up in a restaurant family where it was a family business. If somebody called in sick, I'd be, you're going in today. That started it. And then I went to school and I went into hospitality until I had kids, and that was not going to work out. And that's when I decided I wanted to do something. And I started my decorative painting business. Then I opened a retail store. It's always been something, something creative and yet something useful for the community too. And I think from there, it's just something I've been really passionate about. I've always got that idea. I really don't have any time to start another company right now, but
right, because you're helping so many.
But I get to kind of live vicariously through clients and through these business owners that I meet. And for me, a lot of it is just making connections for them. If I know somebody who has expertise in a certain area, even outside of our official registering and going through the process within our department, personally, I'll reach out to connections that I have in the community and say, hey, could you talk to this person? They're getting into this industry. I know you're super successful, or the ropes. Could you share, some time, maybe meet for coffee? So I love being a connector and putting people together. That's probably my favorite thing to do. And I'm really passionate about that.
Well, I think that ties into where we wanted to go next, because you mentioned the advisory board that you put together. The advisors are 25 individuals that you chose. And does that kind of lead into the mentorship? Are those people also teed up for mentorship, or it's a different kind of role that those kind of women entrepreneurs you handpicked, if you will, for Elle Collective?
I handpicked them initially to get feedback and make sure we were on the right page. I didn't want to assume that I knew it all and that I could plan this whole new initiative by myself or even with my small team. So they were so instrumental in just giving us great feedback and helping us, steer the direction for it. Moving forward, the majority of them have agreed. When I asked them to fill out a volunteer form. What would you be most interested in? They checked off almost everything, all of them. So it was really great to know that I had that support behind the program. But yes, the majority of them will serve as mentors. We also, after the launch, I had people approach me saying, I've been in business this many years, or I'm an expert in this area. Could I be a mentor? Or one woman even came up and said, somebody asked me if I could be their mentor. So that's the next step, is the mentorship program, or that's also in the works, the process of how we're going to do it, how we're matching, and just getting kind of everything in place to take place when school's back in session, when most people are going to be more available to participate. So we're looking at August, early September for the mentorship program to launch.
Mentorship as just that concept to build confidence, right? And that being the biggest difference maker, I think, in the short term, that Elle Collective is going to bring to the table, that instilling of confidence to ask the right questions, know that these things are a part of the process. How do you see, like, again, I know it's not there yet because it'll be later this year as you roll out that program. Is it going to be a lot of one-on-one pair ups? Is it groups? What are you thinking? How do you envision that for the best, I think, result for that entrepreneur that's getting started?
We're going to start off with a few sessions.
Awesome.
Another organization shared with me the information, how they held their sessions, and it really made sense, where they did, I think it was 6 or 8 meetings where they paired the mentors and mentees, and then they came to the sessions together. And they said it was almost like, big sister, little sister in sorority. They had their person, and they would look for that person. If that person wasn't going to make it, they would panic. They really relied on them to kind of help them through the process. And at the end of it, that's where I got some of the information as far as the outcome of the mentorship program was. They all felt confident. That was the number one thing that they said they gained from attending the sessions. So we're going to start off with an actual schedule of meetings. Instead of just saying you're a mentor, you're a mentee, we have guidelines. What is expected of a mentor? What is expected of a mentee? Kind of the rules, and I don't want to say rules, but guidelines, how to participate in a mentorship program at all. So
right.
know
I think people need the instruction on that.
Exactly. Because I've been in a situation where, would you mentor this person? And sure, I can do it, but it's really nice when you kind of have steps.
Yeah. What does that mean? Right. What does that mean? Because it can mean a lot of things, right, to a lot of people, and setting those expectations are huge.
Exactly. So we're going to give them all the tools that they need to be successful, but also they'll know the expectations. So if someone is like, oh, I'm not going to be able to do this, that's fine too. We just want everyone to know up front the commitment, the time, things like that, so that we have committed people to participate moving forward.
So you have the website, ellecollective.org, ELLECOLLECTIVE.org. That's going to have all the information about the Elle Collective, events, how to get involved. What other technology connections do you foresee being a part of this broader? Because this is just the beginning. This is going to be a longer journey for the Elle Collective, which is exciting. Are there certain social media platforms or certain apps that you are going to use to keep everybody connected? How are you thinking about that, even if you don't have a specific one in mind yet?
Well, we started off, when we got our advisory board together, and they recommended LinkedIn. So we created a LinkedIn page. I think we're, like I said, we just started a few weeks ago, and I think we have 102 as of a couple of days ago, 102 followers. And we have someone new coming in that's going to be doing some posting and things for us. So it's a slow process. Like I said, we're a small team.
Sure.
And we don't have a designated person yet, but we're working on that. But those two for sure. LinkedIn, I think, is amazing. We posted from our Elle Collective page, and I shared it, and we had, I think we're almost up to 1,200 views of that one post. So I'm really excited that at least there's some awareness, out there. The college shared it along with a bunch of people who attended. So I think we're getting there, and I know it can only go up from here. So the more events that we have, and once we get the events on the website and start doing a lot more, I think we'll have greater success with spreading the word.
I think you're underplaying the success already of what you've built. Literally happened a few weeks ago. I think that also just shows the community interest, right, in what you guys have created, right? We always say you can post anything, but a lot of times if it doesn't get shared, it might not be resonating with people. Yours obviously resonated and got shared. And it sounds like the people are asking for what you guys are offering.
Yes, I think there's a huge interest. It's, again, just making sure we spread the awareness so that people can take advantage of it. Every time I meet somebody, anytime I go and speak, and we do a lot of speaking at chambers of commerce, at Rotaries, at all different events, people want to know what we do and how we can help the small business community. And every time I mention we have a women's entrepreneur program, this is when we were expecting to open it before last month, they all want to know about it and they're all interested. So our goal is to really become the place in Central Florida for women business owners and entrepreneurs. And I don't think it'll be difficult to do that once we get going with more events and more exposure and more awareness.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts, or how do you feel about this? Might be an eventually down the road, like an Elle Collective podcast, where some of your advisors, some of your entrepreneurs, you could have success stories. You can have the advisors doing different topics. It could even be just a couple minute per episode that gives a helping thing. Any thoughts on that? I'm just wondering because, we're doing a pod right now.
Right. That's a great idea. That's not something I thought of, but I do have some staff members that are tech savvy that really do a lot of different things. So maybe that's something I bring up at our next team meeting is, what do y'all think of a podcast? I'm always coming up with ideas.
Well, because something like that, like even if y'all were able to do it on, let's say, even a Zoom, like literally what we're doing now, or if you did it in person, like whatever, because you already have the space at the college or whatever, it's just so very interesting because the only obstacle that you're already succeeding and jumping over is people knowing, women knowing that this is a resource, a tool, and a growing community, which I think is really interesting to me as I've, been alongside David as a friend and business partner for so many years. He was, I think, the difference maker for me understanding the power of networking and small communities. You already knew that because you've been doing it for decades and putting businesses with other people. But the community element of Elle Collective, when I even use that phrasing of it, what does that make you feel or think is coming?
I think great things. I'm so excited to just continue to build. We had such a great response to the launch event. We had close to 75 women show up and a lot more who RSVP'd that they couldn't make it, but were so, please keep me on the list for the next event.
They'll come to the next one.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So I know, like you said, there's so much interest and just getting the word out. And I know it's just going to grow from here. So I'm just really, really excited about what's to come. I envision it being the place. If you're a women business owner in Central Florida, you're going to want to be part of it.
Oh, 100%. That's the tagline for the pod. That's the tagline for wherever you're going with it. One more, as I throw self-serving things out there. If that ever comes up that as part of the programming, y'all ever need, again, someone to speak for 10 or 15 minutes on like how to set up your Google My Business and make sure you're using it, please let us know because David is very good at that.
Oh, I would love it.
Yeah, because I know we're dudes, but maybe we can just be the help there rather than anything other than that. You know what I mean? I know we're not women entrepreneurs. We have women on our team and everything like that, but there might be some things we can help with if you don't already have it, is all I'm saying.
Oh, no, that's perfect. In fact, that brings up a good point. This is geared towards women entrepreneurs, but there will be opportunities to network with. We're not going to exclude men from participating, especially if they're a resource that can help women. It was pretty funny. We had, my boss, who's a VP at the college, came and we gave him the slippers and it was funny. He put them on and he was part of it, but he was there to support us, as the VP of our division. But men are really important in supporting women. So no, men are not going to be excluded. Obviously, it wouldn't be super helpful for them to come to a workshop on how to become women-owned certified, but
right.
We wouldn't, maybe they're married to someone or a partner. They're in a partnership with a woman owner and she's 51%, but he still wants to learn about it. We're totally open to bringing men in both to participate and to, like you said, serve as a subject matter expert in different areas.
We love hearing that, and obviously are available to you for any of that web related type stuff, the SEO side of things and the Google My Business. Just because the reason I brought up Google My Biz is that and some of our listeners that have heard us talk about it before, it's free. It's time put in to create actual visibility. So while time is money and everything, on the early stages of almost any business, time is usually the resource that the individual would have, right? Whereas they get busier and busier and busier, time gets constrained, and then maybe you have to deploy money and technology to do things. This is a free technology that can really help businesses kind of get a head start if they have a physical location. You know what I mean? And that's something that I think we always want to help people with, no matter what. Now, you kind of hit on something there that obviously that men can be very supportive here, men business owners and things like that. And I think for the future generations, I wonder, you know, I'm a boy dad. I have a young boy, but David has a young daughter, a 7-year-old daughter. Do you see, because again, this is year 1 of Elle Collective, how do you see the next generation coming in, the next generation of young women that are going to become, you know, teenagers in low 20s and have exciting ideas? Do you have any goal or exciting vision that you think would be a really cool thing for where Elle Collective might be in 10 years or 12 years?
Oh, gosh. Wow. I hadn't really thought that far in advance, but I think that with all the opportunities and things that have opened up for women, I'm hoping that there's no more firsts, that it can just be the next best, you know, not the first of this, that, or the other. And I think that hopefully having programs like Elle Collective will open up the eyes of the younger generation that anything's possible, and they'll see those role models a lot more. We had one woman who signed up to come to the launch and asked if she could bring her daughter. And I said, absolutely. I've mentored my own daughters in starting their businesses, and I love it. I used to take them to chamber after hours to learn how to network, and it was open. It was free. You know, it was not a problem to bring them. And they got to see what you do in a business setting and how you meet other people, look them in the eye, shake their hand, have a conversation, things like that. So I think any exposure, especially the younger, the better. It just opens up opportunities. And at the college, we're working with our entrepreneurship program so that we can serve the students as well. We have a lot of entrepreneurial students at Seminole State College, and they have access to the entrepreneurship program as well as our department to help them start or grow a business.
That's awesome. My daughter, depends on the week on what business she wants to start. This week, it's an ice cream shop. So at 7 years old, already the entrepreneur spirit. However, she will be charging people $0. So I think she needs to definitely get a mentorship with Elle Collective at some point to teach her about profitability and how.
I love it. I love it. My daughter we would buy the candy at Sam's, and then she would set up her table, Tori's Treats. And then, but she kept all the profits. We didn't even get paid back for what we purchased. So like,
wow,
that's not how it really works in the real world.
Cutthroat.
100% markup, 100% profit.
Exactly.
No, that's incredible. And we can't thank you enough for spending time explaining it to us. People can obviously find Elle Collective on the website, ellecollective.org, and LinkedIn. Any other places or things you want anybody to know about Elle Collective, Amy?
I think we pretty much covered it. And I really appreciate the opportunity to come talk about this more with you and to just spread the awareness. That's what I think it's all about, is letting people know and coming together.
Yeah, let's get it out there.
We're stoked and look forward to continuing to assist in any ways you see fit. So can't thank you enough.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nicole Herring of the Women in Tech program from New Horizons, South Florida. And my tech tip is, have you ever wanted to recall an email? Well, you can. In Gmail, that is. Click Settings. You will see a bold statement that says Undo Send. You can change the time to 30 seconds. That's how long you will have to recall that message. Have a great day.
Wow, great tip, Nicole. If you want to hear more from Nicole, you should check out episode 2, where we spoke to 4 different graduates of an amazing, innovative Women in Tech program out of Miami. You'll find that link in the show notes.
For details and show notes about today's show, go to floridapodcastnetwork.com. And we want our community of Florida enthusiasts to grow. Join in with our superfans, the FPN Insiders, on Facebook, Clubhouse, and Good Pods. Just search for FPN Insiders, and of course, find us anytime at iwantclarity.com.
Many thanks to this week's sponsors, Flintstone Media and iwantclarity.com. Be sure to visit all the great shows on the Florida Podcast Network. You can find them at floridapodcastnetwork.com. There's a she-wolf in the closet. Open up and set those businesses free. Ow!